Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful village nestled between rolling hills and a quiet stream, there was a young boy tasked with the responsibility of watching over the sheep. His job was simple: keeping the sheep safe from any dangers that might come from wild animals, like wolves, and ensuring they stayed within the boundaries of the pasture. However, as the days passed, the boy began to grow weary of his solitary task. The sun beat down from a cloudless sky, the air was still, and there was nothing to do but watch the gentle sheep graze on the soft grass. The boy longed for something more exciting, something to break the monotony. He thought, what if I could make things more interesting? So, he hatched a plan. He knew that the villagers, all hard-working men and women, would rush to his aid if there was a real threat to the flock. With a mischievous smile, he stood up and cried out with all his might, "Wolves! Wolves are chasing the sheep!" His voice echoed across the pasture, carrying the urgency of his warning. Within moments, the villagers, who were scattered around their daily tasks, heard his call and came running with sticks, axes, and whatever they could find to fight off the dangerous wolves. The boy's heart raced with excitement as they sprinted to his side, but when they arrived, they found nothing. No wolf, no danger, just the boy standing there, grinning. The villagers were stunned, confused, and a little angry. One of the elders spoke firmly. "Boy, why would you do such a thing? There is no wolf here. Don't you know that you can't joke with people's lives?" The boy chuckled, but they warned him sternly. "Do not do this again. We trust you to look after the sheep." Reluctantly, the boy promised not to repeat his trick, but deep down, he knew that the fun wasn't over yet. As the sun climbed higher, the boy grew more and more impatient. The hours stretched on, and the quiet of the fields seemed even more unbearable. He couldn't resist the temptation. After all, what harm could a second prank do? So, he repeated the same trick. "Wolves, wolves are attacking the sheep." This time, the villagers, still angered from before but willing to help the boy, rushed out once again. Their footsteps pounded against the earth, their breath heavy with effort. But as they arrived, they saw no wolves once again. Just the boy, laughing openly this time, enjoying the chaos he had caused. The villagers' faces darkened. They stood there in disbelief, each person feeling a pang of frustration. One woman's eyes narrowed as she asked, "Why did you lie to us? We came out here to help, and there was nothing." Nothing at all. The boy's grin faded as the weight of their disappointment settled in. The villagers turned away without another word, their trust in him eroding with each passing moment. Despite the warning, the boy didn't feel remorse. He felt a rush of power from manipulating the villagers so easily. They had fallen for it twice. The thrill of the prank had blinded him to the consequences, but the villagers, though silent, knew they would no longer come to his aid without reason. Their faith had been broken, and they were not likely to forget. As the day wore on and the evening sun began to set, a dark shadow slipped silently across the grass. The boy, who had been dozing under the shade of an old tree, suddenly heard a rustle. He looked up and froze. His eyes whitened in fear. There, creeping silently through the sheep, was a wolf, a real wolf. Its eyes glinted in the dimming light as it slowly stalked the flock, its movements calculated and predatory. The boy's heart pounded in his chest. He stood up quickly, his mind racing. This is not a joke. This is real. He thought, panic rising in his throat. Without hesitation, he screamed as loudly as he could. "Help! Help! A wolf! The wolf is here!" His voice cracked with fear. But this time, his cry was met with silence. No one came. The villagers had heard his cries before. They had rushed out twice to find nothing but an empty field. They assumed this was the same, just another false alarm. They continued their work, oblivious to the true danger lurking in the fields. The boy's stomach twisted, his mind screamed in disbelief. "Why isn't anyone coming?" he thought. He ran frantically, waving his arms, but the villagers were too far away and too disillusioned to trust him again. The wolf, meanwhile, had begun its deadly work. It darted in and out of the flock, picking off sheep one by one. The boy watched helplessly, knowing that no one would come to help him now. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, the villagers began to wonder why the boy had not returned with the sheep. It was getting late, and the boy was always punctual. Worried, they set out in search of him, following the path to the meadow where he had been. As they walked, They found the scattered remnants of the flock, broken and mangled bodies of sheep, their wool stained with blood. The boy was not far from the carnage, sitting on the ground, his face streaked with tears. He looked up at them, his eyes wide with shock and sorrow. "It's true," he sobbed. "There was a wolf. It ate them all. I tried to warn you, but you didn't come. You didn't believe me." His voice trembled, filled with the weight of his regret. The villagers stood in silence, their expressions heavy with both pity and frustration. An old man, whose hair had turned white with age, approached the boy and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Boy," he said softly, "you have learned a hard lesson today. No one will believe a liar, even when they are telling the truth." The boy looked up, his heart sinking. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. He had lost everything: his trust with the villagers, his reputation, and worst of all, the sheep he had been entrusted to protect. The old man's words echoed in his ears. Nobody will believe a liar, even when they are being honest. This fable teaches a powerful lesson about the importance of honesty. It shows that while a lie may seem harmless at first, it can quickly spiral into a pattern that damages trust and relationships. Even when a liar finally tells the truth, it may be too late for others to believe them. Trust, once broken, is very difficult to rebuild. In the boy's case, his desire for excitement led him to deceive those around him, and when real danger came, no one was willing to trust his warning. The moral is simple: honesty is the foundation of trust, and once you lose that trust, it may be impossible to regain.